All right, good afternoon, everybody. On the March 1st Around the Sailing World Zoom. Small crew today, but we've got the excellent Dawn Riley, who's joined us from down the coast to tell us a little bit of fun stuff she's got going on down at Oakcliff. Other than I hear you're building thinking of some sort, but that's for another day. Yeah. So it's kind of a tradition, Dawn, to kind of go around the horn here and see what's happening in everybody's kind of local race course and what's kind of cooking in your neighborhood. So what's other than getting the boats ready, which is kind of a normal spring thing, I imagine, to get the fleet ready. What's happening down Long Island?
Well, during COVID, because that's what you do, we decided to start a high school. So we currently have, I've told everybody that I'm in here in the one locked door accounting office at the facility and said, don't bug me, but who knows who's going to pop in. But I'll tell you what, it's a lot of high energy because we have 23 people living on site in our bubble. And they were in Alabama training for about a month and Dauphin Island. And when they came back, the energy level went through the roof. So did the mess. But, you know, teenagers on site makes it interesting. Yeah, but we're getting the boats ready. We'll start launching in about 2.5 weeks. We'll start putting the Match 40s in.
So you said high school, these high school age sailors, or are you actually teaching them academics and sailing at the same time? What do you mean?
It's actually a high school. So we partnered with a sailor, Pete Smith, who started USPA, so United States Performance Academy. So we have an online accredited high school program for people from all over the country. It's accredited in all 50 states, and they're here. And what makes it unique, because everybody's like online, you can do that anywhere. What makes it unique is that we have an accredited teacher who's technically a learning coach, who's here to keep them moving forward and getting all their courses done. And then as soon as they get their coursework done, then they get to do fun things like go laser sailing or wasping or 49ers or NACRAs or what have you. And there's one kid that's actually figured out that if he does better by doing one course at a time, and he's just cramming through because he wants to be done 6 weeks early so he can just sail 100% of the time.
Oh, man. Well, so he sounds like a perfect candidate. What we want to talk about today was this the Acorn Maxi. Get this
Yep.
right.
So we have, it's Oakcliff. So an oak cliff on a tree, and somebody said, what are you going to call the kids? And we're like, acorns. And it stuck. So we have the shorter programs that are focused are Acorn programs, and then there's intensives in each. So the one that's exciting and new for us this year is that the DeVos family donated their boat Wind Quest, and we are going to have our group go out there, and it's a 5.5, 6 week program if you want to do full Acorn Maxi, and you start in Macatawa, learn how to put the mast together, get the boat in the water, learn how the water ballast works, deliver to Chicago, do the race, then deliver to Port Huron, do the race. And then it's a little bit COVID dependent. We're probably going to do the St. Lawrence Seaway. That's the plan, is to go out through the St. Lawrence. Of course, for the sailors that have done that, they know that there's some bridges. So our very first thing we're going to do in Macatawa is put somebody, too bad we don't have Doogie, put somebody up at the top of the mast with a tape measure and see how much we can heel the boat over to get the mast under the bridge, because that determines whether we need to get a crane and do sawhorses and put it on the deck to get through the St. Lawrence, or if we can just heel it over. So yeah, all new skills that you never knew that we were going to be able to teach. But again, because of the DeVos family donating the boat, and then we'll get it out to the East Coast, so that'll roll right into Bermuda next year. Yeah,
it's incredible. So when I saw the announcement last week, I did a quick look and I saw the tuition was $7,000 and change or something like that. And I asked Siri to do the math for me. And so this 51 or 52 day thing basically boils down to $135 a day, which is pretty rad.
It is. I mean, you can see we have students that come to us and they're like, I can't afford it. And I'm like, well, we have need-based scholarships available. And then they clarify, well, we can afford it, but my parents don't want to pay for it. So we have need-based scholarships, but I'll have a lot of parents that are people that will start off trying to get a lower rate. And I'm like, no, I know how much teenagers eat. they practically eat $130.
Yeah. Well, that was my question leading to. It's like, what does that cover? Obviously, it gets you on the boat for 52 days of active participation in moving this 86-foot beast all around and doing a couple of races, and that includes food and housing and kind of being part of the program, right?
Yep, includes food, housing, training. We do make all of our programs. We fundraise at Oakcliff for the overhead, and then we make all of our programs break even. So $130 per day times 12 people will be able to cover the hotel if needed, but a lot of it's sleeping on the boat, like the good old days. I'm looking at years my age. We remember sleeping on wet spinnakers in order to be able to do a regatta. And then the food, and they're on a rotation. They do their own laundry. It's not easy, and I never wanted to have children, but my mom just laughs at me with all of the struggles that I have with these kids. I'm just like, oh, was I really that dumb when I was that age? But then they surprise you, and yeah, it includes everything.
So that was, I'll open it up to the other guys, but this is just for the kids, or can old parts like us go say, I want to go take 52 days off this summer and to go do this thing? Or is there an age cap for Gary and I?
No age cap. You have to be 15 at the bottom edge, and no size. John Ziskin's daughter, Zoe, is a possible person. He's like, she's tiny. I'm like, that's okay. We can fit 2 of them if they're tiny. And the oldest we've ever had is 73. I know that Diana Clybert is already signed up for the St. Lawrence. So we seem to have a lot of the people that are like, yeah, I've already done the Mackinac races a few times, but I've never done the St. Lawrence, that are signing up for the final intensive. Again, it's split into Chicago, Port Huron, and the St. Lawrence.
How many coaches will be on the boat, or advisors, or I'm not sure what you call them, but how many?
At this point, 100% for sure, we'll have David Blanchfield, Ratty, who's married to Katie Pettibone. He's our executive boat captain. And then Fly, who's our shore manager, he's going to be the boat captain for this summer. And then Tom Giesler, who is the boat captain currently for the DeVosses, is scheduled. And then we're going to see what the level of our trainees are for which other people we might have to bring in, like Scotty Gregory, if we need somebody more in the pit, Dean Tank, if we need somebody more in the front of the boat. And then I will be doing the Port Huron at this point. I'm going to try to do both, but I'm going to do at least one because it is my hometown.
Yeah. Ed, did you spend any time on this 86-footer?
Well, Don's bringing a tear to my eye because I have also slept on that boat in a wet spinnaker. It's yeah, I've done a few of the Mac races on it. It's an incredible piece of equipment. Wonderful that you guys have it. I would imagine that you've never received a boat that was in such great condition as that one, with as many great sails. And I mean, we raced that in the 2 summers ago was the last time we raced it, and had a lot of brand new gear. So they kept it really well. It's an impressive machine. Definitely better for light air than it is for the super strong stuff. But it'll be a lot of fun and a real lesson for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. And you're correct. Like we have Numbers is another boat. This is our second biggest boat in the fleet. And that one, the sails, not so much. We raced it to Bermuda and everybody thought, oh, it's good, it's slow. I'm like, no, it's because every sail we put up just went away. Or as our sail loft manager, Chris Holman, calls them, they were one-way sails. They're going, but they're not coming back.
Yeah.
It's so nice. I even went out there right before COVID, because we were going to put bottom paint, a nonprofit. You put bottom paint on the bottom so you don't have to have divers on the team. And I looked at how freaking gorgeous it was. I was like, nope, we're going to learn how to dive ourselves, which ironically we did here at Oakcliff all summer long because there was no divers in town. So we used to use that as a workout.
Another good skill to learn. And funny that you mentioned Numbers, because that's another boat that I raced on a while back. Great pieces of equipment. And, the thing is that there's just not that many opportunities right now for younger people with less skills that, they're just developing themselves, as you say, to get out and do these overnight races on big pieces of equipment. You can get on a 30-footer or something, but wow, these things are, I mean, 86, the loads go way up, there's a lot happening. So it's a great opportunity, great chance for people to do.
Yep. And with the loads and with all that, the first thing, running the program, being responsible for it, I was like, safety, but we have something we call the Oakcliff Bible, and it has everything written in there. And we are very, 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 very strict on safety harness. Like, you wear a safety harness and you are clipped in at night or when it's over 15 knots. Well, 15 knots is nothing, but if it's 15 knots at 2 in the afternoon and you're practicing clipping on and clipping off and figuring out how to get around the boat, then when it's blowing 35 at 2 in the morning, it's just second nature. So everybody knows that, understands that. It's exhausting on the coaching staff, but it's so important to teach people the right way to do it. And also to acknowledge that, for other than wrapping a winch. I guess there are 2 ways to wrap a winch. They go both ways. But generally, there's one way to do something for very few things in sailing because it's so flexible and changeable. So we acknowledge that there's more than one way to do something, but we have the Oakcliff way, and that's the way it is. And we try to model that over after everything that we do at the top level. The bow person takes the bow line when you're going off the dock or getting on and off the tow. That's just the way it is. Anybody could do it, but you just have that structure and that rigor.
So boats like that, same job every time, very important. And yeah, as you say, 15 knots, put a harness on. 15 knots in the 86 going upwind is 25 knots over the deck, or more. And you're starting to feel it. So it's not a bad rule.
Yep.
And how many people are you servicing a year through the Oakcliff programs?
If you're just talking about our full-time trainees, so acorns or saplings or the student saplings now, we're about 75 up to 100 in 1 year, and that just keeps growing.
Did the number of bunks continue to grow in the bunkhouse, or is that a fixed number?
No, we've become very creative. So we have upstairs here, we have a bunkhouse with 43 bunks. And like you might have 22 on site and they're all there. And then we have a match racing event come in. So that's why I said when you just count the full-time trainees, because we had 15 match racing events last year during COVID. We didn't let people stay in the bunkhouse unless they'd gone through the affidavit and the testing. But we'll have 23 people there, and then we'll schedule so that they go and race around Block Island while we bring in the match racers that come and use the bunks while they're racing around Block Island. We're like, okay, if you finish, you have to spend the night on the boat because your bunk won't be ready till Sunday morning. So it's a little bit of a shuffle, but it works.
Well, now you have 20 more bunks on the big boat. So
there you go.
Exactly. You know what? We have 4 FAR40s that are kind of like our bread and butter, and those are boats that you the younger people get to be fully, within a month of the saplings being here, they're a boat captain of a FAR40. So they have that responsibility, boats that are a little bit harder to hurt yourself on. But the first thing we did is, after we put the prods on to give them A sails, which was an IRC rule beater type thing, but also made them easier to sail offshore, is that we put in 8 more bunks. So now if the team comes to us and says, oh, I want to go to Newport to do this regatta, we don't have budget for hotels, but we have bunks, and you can, with our partnership with Iris, they sleep on the dock, or they put the boat on the dock and they sleep on the boat. Don't sleep on the dock, hopefully.
Yeah. Maybe not. It is incredible that your place down there continues to grow. And just when you think it's big enough, then you get thrown this 86-footer, which draws what, by the way?
It's in the whiteboard. I think it's 15.9. I think
you got enough depth there in that dock of yours. Yeah.
That's the thing. The New York Yacht Club cruise came here a few years ago, and it was spectacular. And people, they like Tom Whidden. He's like, I came here eons ago. I forgot how beautiful it is and how deep and how much area. We have 3 different race courses we can get to within 5 minutes between West Harbor, Cold Spring Harbor, and right out in front of Sewanaka. So, and it's on the dock. Knickerbocker is here all summer long. So that's a mini super yacht, 120 feet or something.
Crazy. All right, now where do you put the containers of sails that's going to come with this bad boy?
That's a question. We do have a full sail loft, which usually we move over next door, but because of COVID, we made that our gym. So now we have a full gym on site. So we've been able to work out every day. And then we have the sail loft in the back, and we have the racks. And we have a yard across the street where we're going to put the containers. It's always, that's why we need 20 people to move everything to get it done.
That's cool. Well, hey, well, nice job. I saw that the boat was at one point listed for 700,000 or whatever it was, and the kind donation, off you go, and you've now got a mega yacht to play with.
Yeah, well, it worked out really well. So Doug came out here to just, I mean, I've known Doug, as it said in the press release, I've known him since he ran into me on the boat I was running in the 50-footer days in the Great Lakes. I was running leading edge, and their boat was aluminum, and they won. We lost the corner of our boat, and he actually told that story to everybody here. Anytime any of you come, you just show up and we pull everybody together in the office and they have a conversation. You should have seen Chemo when he showed up. He's like, the who's a what's a what? And then he was there talking for an hour and a half. And they're just sponges. You know, we've had amazing people just pop in the door, but oh, I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry.
That's okay.
The collision.
Doug showed up, and he was here for just to say hi and kind of see what's going on, and probably to talk to Hunt Lawrence about funding American Magic. And then we went out sailing on a classic, and then 3 boatloads of Par 40 sailors came back, and they were all at the barbecue next door outside, and they started cornering him, asking him questions, and it was like, you know, just this energy, and he really got a feeling of what was going on here. And I think it's probably like 5 weeks later, he texted me, do you want Wind Quest? And I was like, yes.
wait. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Incredible. All right. Well, good luck with the boat. I think we need an Oakcliff in the Pacific Northwest, right, Jonathan?
It would be great to have an organization like what Don has created. I always feel like such an underachiever having to go after Don.
Well,
funny.
Yeah, thanks. So real quick with Jonathan, speaking of, I'm going to put you back in spot. Last week we had a great one-on-one with Charlie Daline. You could say it in French. You're better in the French than I am, Jonathan. But what a cool hour-long conversation with the first to finish Vendée finisher.
Yeah, we had an incredible interview, Dave and I, with Charlie Daline last week, and we're going to publish the highlights of it in Sailing World, and we're also hoping to publish some kind of a video that also has his words with the images. So it's a really cool project. It was really inspiring for me just to talk with someone who's absolutely at the forefront of that discipline of sailing, and just to understand his mentality, how disciplined and intelligent he is, and the preparation that goes into those programs. So it was a real eye opener, and he's a really nice person. And so it was great to sort of give a chance for his personality to come out as well.
Well, I think Jonathan's underselling. At the beginning of the story, this is sort of a funny story that he apparently went as, what is he, almost, he was in early 20s, fought out Jonathan when he was doing his mini Transat campaign, and wanted to do anything he could to work with him, tow the boat, do whatever he would dive the boat, right? And next thing you know, tables have turned, he's winning the Vendée. Pretty wild.
Yeah, it is a cool sort of circular story where, he started out seeking out me, and I was in a way, a mentor for him. And now the tables have turned where he's the god, and I'm hanging on his every word.
Does that make you feel old?
No, it makes me feel appreciative, of how, the development of sailors, and like with you, Don, these young sailors that are coming through your organization, you just don't know where they're going to end up. And some of them at the very top.
Yep. This is so true. Like with American Magic, we're the official training partner of American Magic. We're partnered with Iris. We're with Mark and Charlie in 11th Hour Racing, with the World Match Racing Tour. We have the Match Racing Acorn Academy here. So we have all that. And then we have Sean, who was, a grinder with American Magic on the sailing team. Robin, who was on the design team, is still doing well. And you're right, you never know where they're going to go next. I will tell you, this is our 11th year. And we've just gotten to the point where we have so many young people coming in that I feel like I'm outnumbered. And every once in a while, I want to say, trust me, I really have done this before. So it's a little bit, but it's good. It's good.
It just shows we really do need a second, we need an Oakcliff annex somewhere else, or, you feel like there's a demand somewhere, right?
Well, so right now we built Oakcliff with some funding to start with. Now we're the Lawrence families. We're just doing the audit somewhere between just over 20% of the funding. So we really are doing a good business model, multiple different streams of revenue coming in. But we built it slowly and efficiently. And we were talking offline earlier, and we have like some problems with leakage in the building, but we know how to fix that most of the time. So we've made it as inexpensively as possible, except for with the important things. And so it's easier to send people to Oakcliff than to recreate Oakcliff. With that being said, Dauphin Island was our quiet test balloon. We really have done no publicity because we wanted to try it out. But when we put together the helix for the Olympic programs, that is, in my mind, we need, for you guys that know, it'd be like having a Valencia where you have critical mass. So we do need, the US does need a inexpensive year-round training venue where not only teenagers go, it's not just high school. As we know, the Olympics, especially if we get the double-handed offshore in there approved, is a multi-quad commitment. And it's too impossible to have people just try to have everybody come to where the best sailor is that day, or that year. And then 2 years later, try to go to where the best coach is. And then 2 years later, try to go where there's money or something like that. If you can find the right venue, then you bring the people to that venue. So I do foresee, and slowly I'm working on funding for something like that on the Olympic side. And then we go into the double-handed offshore and, the Vendée, that type of thing. That's Ralphie right now has his down near Charleston. And I see these little pods happening. And for us, our double-handed offshore in the Melgis is really for the people that are like, I want to do this. And when we ask them, have you ever sailed in the dark? The answer is no. Come here and we'll show you how to do this safely.
Super cool. Well, and you might point out to them, to me, it was one of the fascinating things I learned from our talk with Charlie was that he basically completed the Vendée on the autopilot for 80 days straight, never once touched the tiller, which to me is mind blowing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That'd be something nice. Autopilot course there.
Yeah. And we have autopilots on our class 40 in particular, so that we can train people on how to use that and how to fix it. We don't call somebody in. We'd rather pay a little bit extra and fix it ourselves incorrectly a couple times to learn and put that into our IP so that we can share it with the next group.
Yeah, super cool. Hey, Gary, I'm going to switch topics on you quick. I ran into this guy in Newport yesterday called Paul Kayard, who was walking with his granddaughter. And I think Ed, we talked him into buying a couple of Dragonflight 95. So I think he's put in the purchase last night. So I told him that you were on. So I can anticipate a full IACC battle at some point, the Battle of the Legends. But Gary, you've got something going with both Ed and Paul at the end of this week. You want to tell us what's up with that?
Well, in lieu of having the Rolex Yachtswoman and Yachtswoman Men of the Year, we're doing a little panel discussion, and both Ed and Paul will be part of it. Theirs is on Thursday evening, March 18th, and they'll be joined with Johnny Heineken and Stan Honey on that one. So I look forward to a good discussion, and I'm sure the America's Cup will fit into part of the discussion. And this Thursday, we're doing one with 4 great women sailors. Dawn knows all of them. JJ Fetter. We're going to talk a little bit about the Olympic program coming up, and hear from Daniela Morose, who's quite the superstar in the kites these days. And we got Betsy Allison, only 5-time winner of that award, will join us, and Anna Tunnicliffe. So anyway, that's Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Will be live, and that's in lieu of the Rolex Yachtswoman of the Year and Rolex Yachtsman of the Year.
Yeah. So that's on the Starboard U.S. Sailing. Was it on a primary website in their portal, or?
Yeah, you can get it through the U.S. Sailing website. Rolex has a company that's hosting it, so I'm sure the videos and everything will go smoothly, and the whole thing will be an hour. So I look forward to. I get to be the MC and ask questions, so that'll be my role.
All right, excellent. All right, so we'll find Ed and Co on Thursday night, 8 o'clock.
And Ed, by the way, Ed here, he's about to be inducted into the America's Cup Hall of Fame, and that event was going to be March 8th, but I think it's now postponed a little bit because of the COVID situation down there. And you know, and just to follow, I think we got a couple others that are probably going to be in the Hall of Fame soon on this call, Dawn and Jonathan. I'm quite confident you'll be reading about them in the near future. So
excellent, man. We're surrounded by Hall of Famers. I'm not worthy. You're saying incredible.
Oh, you're the man, Dave.
Yeah. So
You're gonna be in the Hall of Fame of RC boats soon. We know that. So watching your racing every weekend. Wow.
You know, Dave, Sailing World magazine is one of the few magazines that when it comes in the mail, I read it cover to cover. You know, right then. You've really done a great job, and it's an important magazine. And anyway, it's such a treasure. Disclaimer, I have a piece in there, but Jonathan, Ed, and many others that are in there, it's really good. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, you guys are the all-star cast. Oh, thank you. No, it's good. Apparently, people got their new issues this recently. I still haven't gotten mine yet, so
I haven't either. The mail's been a little bit funky in the last several months.
It is time. Okay, so real quick, I think Dawn had some things to do, so we said we'd be quick. Any thoughts here on the America's Cup thing that's happening, not happening? Has anybody heard anything on the backside of that?
No, I just want to point out that the America's Cup is postponed because of a 25-year-old male that went to the gym. And I just want everybody to have sympathy for me, because I deal with 15 to 25-year-old children. And that was what I lived in fear of. And we, thank God, we don't have any wood in here. We made it through COVID safe, and now we're getting vaccinated in the state of New York. So we're looking forward to a bullish summer with the Acorn programs, the Maxi, the offshore, the inshore, the match racing, the onboard reporter, and even the classics. So we're looking forward to a really, really, really good year with some big size of relief.
Yeah, certainly. I think we talk about that every week. The pent-up demand is there. Ed's been enjoying this demand down in Florida because COVID doesn't exist in Florida apparently, and so those of us in other parts of the world have been locked down. Yeah, I agree. I think we're all ready to go play hard.
Yeah, we're all meant to be outside. Let's get there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, postponed. So I guess we'll talk Cup next week. It's the quiet time. I guess boats have been declared, and everyone's just kind of laying low, right, until things start happening. So,
it's probably torture for the teams. They're ramped up, ready to go, got it in their head. Later this week, they're racing, and not only they're postponed, but they don't know when the postpone exactly is going to end. So that's a lot of, now what do we do? What, do we take the boat apart or not boat? What do we do or improve? It's a tough time.
Yeah.
A lot of pressures on these teams.
I saw an interview with Ben Ainsley and Grant Simmer this morning that I think Matt Sheehan did. And it's just the same thing. It's incredible. Like we keep saying, okay, they've still gone and COVID didn't exist in Auckland and they're so lucky. that I don't think the average person, except for those of you on this call who have been involved with America's Cup, understand how impactful not having those World Series events was. You know, the crash with American Magic, the development should have been happening, you know, a year and a half from now. They should have been able to check in and find out. And that's the way the rules are written. And then once you have the rules, you can't change the rules unless everybody agrees. And that never happens in the America's Cup. So I actually feel a little bit sorry for all of these people that are there that have put their hearts and souls and millions of dollars and reputations on the line. And then they're like, okay, don't do anything, go sailing, which is exactly what they're going to have to do in the America's Cup. So, man, I'm kind of happy I'm not involved on a day-to-day basis this year.
Yeah, lots of moving targets. It's been a lot. All right, gang. Well, thank you everybody for your time. Because we go play. Dawn, you get back to work.
Yep, the kids were good.
And we'll see everybody next week. And Dawn, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Good luck with the Wind Quest. And when it comes to Newport, I'll definitely sign me up for an OBR day or two, and I'll come and tell the story.
Yeah. And if you have anybody else that wants to come, just send them to our website.
All right. Sounds good.
Good luck with it, Don.
Good to talk with you.
Thanks, Don.
All right. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.
See ya.
Okay,
Cheers.
bye, everyone.